Hello and welcome to another video. Ubuntu Impish Indri has been released today. I've been wanting to check out what Ubuntu has been up to these past couple of releases, so now seems to be a good time. Ubuntu 21.10 has already been reviewed by a bunch of great YouTubers, so in this video I'm going to spice up my take on this industry standard Linux distribution by installing it on the Zettabyte file system, or ZFS, and run through snapshotting, rollbacks, and backups. Let's fire up our trusty test VM. And here are our boot options. Let's do Ubuntu. Let it come up. All right, there's our Impish Indri wallpaper. So we can try it or install it. Let's install Ubuntu. We're English keyboard. We'd like to do a normal install and download updates while installing Ubuntu to save some time. And today we'll be using the ZFS file system en route. ZFS root install. So we've got 4 partitions being created here, including 2 ZFS pools, the boot pool and the root pool. We're in the Los Angeles time zone. I'll put in Steven here as my name. We'll call the computer name Bunty1 today. I'll give it a password for my account once and twice. Okay, continuing. And we're already installing Impish Indri. So first it's copying files, I believe from the ISO, and it also will be downloading files as needed from the network as updates. There shouldn't be too many updates now because this ISO has just been released. So we're just in the first day of the official Impish Indri release. Now it's removing unneeded packages, such as language packs we're not using. And it's done. Let's restart now. And we're hitting enter to remove the installation medium. It's booting back up. And there's our GNOME Session Manager. And we can choose Ubuntu on Wayland or Ubuntu on Xorg. Let's stay with Wayland. This release is very Wayland friendly. A lot of updates there. Okay, that gives us an offer for some online account setup. So you got from Ubuntu single sign-on through Google and Microsoft. You can add and remove these anytime later using the settings application. No, I prefer not to send surveillance information. And I don't intend on switching time zones anytime soon. Okay, you've got a bunch of software available. Yeah, this looks familiar from Ubuntu releases past. Let's open the software program now and see what we got. So it's downloading the software catalog. Make sure that's up to date and we get the latest available packages for our perusal. Yes, a lot of familiar faces here. Let's see what's installed. Yeah, we've got a list of applications and packages, including LibreOffice and Remina. Firefox is not a regular package, but a snap package from snapcraft.io. Just want to keep that in mind. It's a snap package. Got one update here for the snap daemon runtime environment. We're going to skip that today. Keep this video as short as possible. All right, we're done. We're ready to go. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a nice divider there on the GNOME panel here, on the Ubuntu panel. Let's launch Terminal. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Make the font a little bigger. So let's check the LSB release. So we're running Impish Indeed. Ubuntu 21.10 is the description. Let's check the file system table. In it, we have two partitions with two separate UUIDs. One for the EFI partition and another one for the swap. Okay. So let's check the kernel release. So yes, we're running 5.13. Relatively recent kernel, not 5.14. But this is Ubuntu, so we're not always bleeding edge here. Yes. Free-H shows 2 GB used or reserved because ZFS lives and dies by RAM. That's where its power and performance comes from. It's very RAM hungry and happy. Let's make the font size just a little bit bigger here. Let's list the pools, ZFS list. So we've got the boot pool or B pool, where /boot is mounted. And then we've got the root pool, where everything else is mounted under /root. So that's /usr/var. Also, we've got the user data for the home directories. That's also in the root pool. Okay. So let's take a look at the status of our pools. Looks like B pool and R pool are online, and we've got no known data errors. That's good to know. Let's clear the terminal and let's check Z pool history. That'll tell us how the Ubiquity Ubuntu installer set up our ZFS system. So it shows you all the options they use, including some SSD-friendly options, it looks like to me, some compression. Yeah, this is very good to know and to learn how Ubuntu sets up a ZFS root installation. Okay, let's list the snapshots we have. Right now, we just have the user data snapshot. That happens when we install as a reference point. Good. So let's clear the terminal and let's update and sync with the repositories. Okay, they're all in there. So let's install a package, our first package, which shall be NeoFetch. NeoFetch is now installed. Let's scroll up here and take a look and see what it did with the ZFS system. So after fetching, it requested to save the current system state, and it saved a snapshot, AutoZsys, which is the userland daemon for ZFS, called WW90FL. And then after it installed everything, then ZSys added an automatic system snapshot to the GRUB menu. So there we go. Our system has been automatically snapshotted. So let's take a look at the list of snapshots, and we got a bunch of them. So we've got WW90FL. That's the most recent snapshot. All right, let's clear the terminal and let us sudo apt install build-essential, which is an essential set of packages for doing any development work or package building work on a installed Ubuntu system. So let's let it do its thing. Pretty big group of packages. So they're all installed. Let's do the same thing here. Let's scroll back. And so again, it saves the current system state as a new snapshot, 7CI2AQ. And it adds it, ZSys adds it, userland daemon, adds it to the system snapshot to the group menu. All right, so let's list the snapshots here. And there we go, 7CI2AQ snapshots have been added to our growing list. And how big they are as well, their sizes, which will come in handy later when we roll back. So let's check and see what version of GCC we're running. So the C compiler is 11.2. And the Python interpreter, they use 3.9.7. Okay, not too old, not too new. Conservative. Let's reboot. So we've got a new entry here, history for Ubuntu 21.10, where we have 10.13, we've installed NeoFetch, and 10.16, we installed the build essential group of packages. So we can roll back, but that's too easy. So let's do it the hard way with ZFS and the shell. Let's boot into the regular boot entry and log in here. Ubuntu history often works, but sometimes it doesn't, so it's less reliable. So for maximum reliability, we use the ZFS command to roll back. Let's do this again. So first off, let's sudo apt remove build essential if we want to do it the easy way. Say if we want to remove build essential. But we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to do things the hard way with ZFS and rollback to snapshots. So let's list the snapshots again. So we've got the list of snapshots. So let's do sudo ZFS rollback. And we're going to scroll up here and choose the rpool. Boot pool hasn't changed, so it's the root pool. The 7CI2AQ, which is the build essential one that we'd like to roll back from and make it like it never happened. So we enter our password, and it's that simple. We're rolled back. So yeah, if you do gcc-v now, we see it's not installed. Python 3 is still installed because we've got a bunch of rollbacks that we still need to do. We won't do that in this video, but here's what you would do. So you look through the 7CI2AQ snapshots, and you select all the non-0 byte ones. So there's one. There's another one, ignoring the 0 byte ones, as I said. Here's another one. And another one. Another one. One here. Again, ignoring the 0 bytes one. And another one here for good measure. So you roll all those back, and then you get a full rollback of the system to before the installation of Build Essential. Okay, that's how ZFS works in a very superficial way. Yeah, it's very powerful. Let's open up the settings app here. So you got network, you got Bluetooth, you can change the background here. Oh, I like this one. A nice fall scenery. Appearance, we've got light and dark, usual stuff. Notifications, configurations, what to search, where the search results come from, applications and notification integration, privacy settings. I've got online accounts. This is a little bit bigger list here, including Flickr and Microsoft Exchange and Last.fm. So here we can set for screen sharing, VNC, or media. Sound settings, power mode, balanced or power. Here you can set the displays and fractional scaling, etc. And also night light you can configure if needed. Mouse and touchpad, a few configuration items here. You can test it using this cute little game here. You can test your single and double clicking and your scrolling direction. It's a cute little picture, flying a kite. I think that's a cat there. Okay, keyboard settings, printers. You can add your printers here. Removable media, what to do when it encounters removable media. Color manage your monitor. Here you can have your region and language settings. Accessibility. I'm going to breeze through these here. The user configuration, where you can do all change groups, etc. Here are the default applications. NTP sync here, time zone. Here's our about. So we got the device name, no Linux kernel, 64-bit. GNOME version is 40.4, and we're running Wayland. Wayland is getting really mature lately, including options for NVIDIA users, I hear. So I won't be testing that here in this video. Just not set up for that. So they got a bunch of apps here, including LibreOffice. And let's check and see. We're running version 7.2.1.2, which is fairly recent. Okay, handy to have. Let's close that. Let's check the grid, and see, we've got a bunch of these here, a bunch of little apps already installed. Usual suspects. We also got backups that I noticed earlier. Backups is Ubuntu's version of Deja Dupe, which I like this software quite a bit. So let's go ahead and create the first backup. So I'd like to include my home directory, but ignore trash and downloads. Sounds good. So we got Google Drive, network server, or local files. So let's try a network server. I'm going to try my Scratch backup server here. Let me put that in there as a Samba share. Click forward. Ah, yes. All right. Let me type in my username and password for my little NAS here. You can password protect your backup, or you can allow restoring without a password, so we'll do that instead. And we've created a first backup. It's that simple. You can schedule automatic backups. Well, that was easy, so moving on. Let's next take a look at the files. So we've got, GNOME files version 40.2. So we can do view options here, alphabetic, last modified, first modified, by size and by type. Okay. You can also show a little more details, including some more columns. And we can configure the visible columns. A whole bunch of It's including modified by time column, which can be very handy. You can also compress, say, our documents folder like so, using a .zip, which is compatible with all operating systems, .tar.xz or .7z. Okay, very handy. So that's files in a nutshell. So let's open up Terminal again. Let's go ahead and center it a bit. And let's run NeoFetch since we installed it earlier. It's still installed. And there we go. We've got kernel 5.13. Desktop environment is GNOME 40.5. The Mutter window manager, Adwaita theme, Yaru icons, and look at that. Still got close to 2 GB of RAM since ZFS is dependent on RAM. It lives and dies by RAM, so it's very top-heavy in that regard. And that's why you want to think carefully if you need ZFS, because it uses a lot of the resources can be used otherwise. Unfortunately, although Ubuntu includes the ZFS kernel module in the distribution, it is non-GPL. You may not care, but I prefer running GPL software on my hardware wherever possible. And while ZFS is awesome and I use it as intended, which is for storage and not root file systems, Impish Indri is just not enough to pull me away from Arch Linux, ButterFS, and the almighty AUR repo. That said, Impish with GNOME 40 is a fine flagship release, and there are good reasons Ubuntu is deployed practically everywhere in the enterprise with a commercial support option. Diversity is good. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoy videos like these, please consider liking and subscribing, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Until next time, take care.